The first thing you're going to need to do is to hang your curtain rod. I found one of these nifty little ones at Spotlight for about $20. It's got the hooks already on it, and it's already been installed by my fantastic husband. So now I just have to make the curtain to hook it on. To start off with, you're going to need your window measurements, a measuring tape, some straight pins, a small ruler, your scissors for cutting your fabric, and your thread that matches your fabric. Of course, your fabric, mine in particular, has a nifty coating on the back which will keep the sun out. It's a bit heavier and it's got a cute little print on the front. You're going to need your tape, which will be your pleating tape once you pull these little strings on the inside of it. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. The strings, it will gather uniformly, and then what you do is you stick in your little gathering hooks into the pockets which are formed. Last but not least, you're going to need your sewing machine. To make your window panel, put your fabric wrong side up on your table. Put your measuring tape at the end and put it along the straight edge so that you know you're getting an accurate measurement. Once you've decided how long you want your panel to be, add about 10 inches on so you have enough room for your hem at the bottom and also for the tape at the top. Iron out any creases that may be existing from when you bought your fabric. In this case, I have a bit of a backing on mine to help keep out the sun, so I have to make sure that my iron is on synthetic settings so that it doesn't melt. With your right side of fabric down on your table, you're going to bend back the edge to make a side hem. Choose whatever length you like. Mine's going to be 1 inch, so I just put my ruler down, I measure out 1 inch to the edge of the fabric, then I take a straight pin and I put it in perpendicular to the way I'm going to be sewing. So when I have it in my sewing machine, I'm going to be going this way. That way, if your needle actually hits your pin, it won't break. You can see I've got both of my edges fully pinned. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine, and I'm just going to do a straight seam right down the side. You're going to do a few stitches forward and a few stitches back, then a few stitches forward again, and then you're just going to sew your entire seam. So it's going to go like this. Few forward, few back, and now you just go straight down the side to press them flat. This will make for a beautiful straight line on the other side of your fabric. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to cut our pencil pleat tape at the top. Lay it across the top of your fabric and give it about 1 inch on either side. Then you're going to cut it to that length. Cut it in the middle of where the strings are coming across, like I have there, because you're going to be pulling these at the end in order to make the fabric gather. So you're going to want to make sure that you have something to hold on to. Now what you're going to do is fold over the top of your fabric the width of your pencil pleat tape and about another 1 inch too. The next step you want to take is figuring out how high to put your tape. Now for this exercise, you're going to need one of your little clips and you're going to need the ring that they're actually folding onto. Now imagine this is where your rod's going through this ring, like that. So it's actually going to hang like that. Now the way that these little clips work is they go up underneath the pocket and then they pull over like that and they hold it like that. Then what you do is this, which is hanging on your wall, you just clip under like that. So at the end of the day, what you want to accomplish is to make sure that when you flip it over, you don't actually see that long stem of your rod. So you want to make sure that you sew it low enough that it kind of looks like that, instead of if you sew it too high and it looks like that. So I actually quite like the look of this being that high up. I might actually just bring it down a small bit, maybe pin it there, so that when this is hanging on the wall, you can see the top of the material here is intersecting the loop and you don't actually see this little bit, round bit here that comes down. But now once you've got that all pinned, you're going to do a straight line of sewing at the very top of your edge up here. Then what you're going to do is unpin this so that you can lay it flat. Something to keep in mind when you're doing your top seam is not to go all the way to the edge of the material. And what I mean by that is you want to leave a small bit of seam here so that when you pull these strings tight and you create your pinches all along like this and you're gathering, then you can fold this in and you'll actually be sewing it in there so you don't see it on the outside, and you have a nice clean line going all the way down your curtain. As you can see, I've sewn this top edge here through both pieces of fabric, and then my second and my third seam, which go in between the pockets, I've just sewn to this one piece of fabric on the hem side. Now what I'm going to do to get a nice clean edge here is I'm going to fold this under about there, and I'm going to pin it, and I'm going to sew through the tape, the fabric, the hem out all the way to the front side, so you'll see another hem right here. And that's how I'm going to finish my top edge. Right, so this is what it's going to look like when it's all pinned out. And you're going to sew right on the very edge of your tape here so that you catch the hem underneath, but you also reinforce the tape at the top. The next step in making your curtains is to start pulling the strings on the end. This will create a pleat. You want your pleats to be absolutely straight up and down. So what you need to do is remember to pull your strings all at the same time. So the strings are always the same length. Therefore your pleats will not be too tight at the top and too loose at the bottom. It'll all be uniform. You want to do this and move them using your fingers, going along the entire panel until you have the fullness that you desire. Once you decide your desired length, what you're going to do is you're going to take the ends of your pulleys here and you're going to knot them. Then what you're going to do is you're going to cut off the excess and slide it right underneath so that when you sew, you're going to have your edge inside the casing so there's nothing falling out, and you're going to sew along the seam that you've already done at the top here, going straight down that way. So it's only going to look like there's one seam on the outside. You also do the same thing on the other end. As you can see here, I've already knotted it and turned it under, and all I have to do now is sew along that edge there. Then what you do is you place the fullness, which as you can see has happened a little more in the middle than on the outsides here because I needed a certain measurement. And what you're just going to do is you're just going to use your fingers and you're just going to push it along and adjust it to get it to the fullness that you want so it's uniform across. At the end, this is what your pencil pleats are going to look like. Uniform and across. It'll be a straight line going across once you actually hang them up. It's just because there's no weight on them right now. They look like they're a bit pezzled, but they're just straight up and down pleats like that. And the back looks something like that. The last thing you need to do is to create your bottom hem. Okay, so to create my bottom hem, what I've done is I've turned under 1 inch, which is the same seam allowance that I've allowed on this side here. And then what I've done is I've turned it under again because I had a pretty raw edge. That's where I actually cut the material. So I wanted to turn it under again like that. And I've gone ahead and I've pinned it. So what I'll do is I'll just sew across the top there, and my curtains will be done after I press that.